I know this frustrates the hell out of some people when I'm streaming on Twitch, but I like to have a certain level of realism in my football manager saves. Most particularly while we're doing the Journeyman. I like to role play as the head coach, and I like to make decisions that would be best for the coach as a human being and to progress their career. Would it be logical to make this move? Are we going to make more money? Is it going to put us in a better position to be a better coach and to be more successful? These are the criteria that we are going to be placing today as we make our huge decision. Bayer Leverkusen has come in and offered us the job. Do we stay or do we go? And welcome back, everyone, to episode number 105 of Bottom to the Top. I'm Mr. Cellophane, and we pick up where we left off. It is the 19th of June, 2034. We are waiting for our 7th season to begin. The transfer window is opening up in England. So if we are going to make a move to a team in Germany, we should probably do it sooner rather than later to give us as much time as humanly possible before their season begins in the beginning of August, about 6 weeks from now. That two seasons started about the same time. Usually the Bundesliga begins with the first round of the DFB Pokal, or they'll get a game in first. Either way, not a lot of time to build a team. Since the last episode, I've taken your input, I've slept on it, I've ruminated on it for a very, very long time and came to the realization that financially for our coach, it is not the best move to make. And taking a look at Bayer Leverkusen and their squad, what we already know about it versus what we have here at Fulham Football Club. And I think that our better prospects for success in the coming year are at Fulham. That all being said, if something else were to come along that did make more sense, we'd obviously consider it. We are still in the running for the job at Arsenal. Apparently, we have not been offered an interview, but it does still seem to be available, although Patrick Vieira, while still the leading candidate, his odds are getting longer. But a new job has become available, and that is at AC Milan. This would not be a step backward. They won Serie A. They won the Champions League. And while their finances may be okay, they've got more money available. They have excellent facilities. They want us to play defensively solid football, possession football, make the most of set pieces, play high-tempo pressing football, just like Bayer Leverkusen did. They obviously liked us. Managers can't work for two teams in the same division in the same season. That's not a problem. Massive reputation, massive history, and a better situation. We're going to apply for that job. Well, we have been offered the opportunity to interview for the job at Milan. We took it. We went on the interview. I think it went well. We pretty much answered the questions exactly the same way that we did when we met with Bayer Leverkusen yesterday, so hopefully we have the same result. However, unlike yesterday where we instantly became the front runner, Thomas Tuchel is still the front runner here. And if you remember from way back, he won the double a couple of years ago. Thomas Tuchel has had quite a bit of success in this save. And I guess word of us meeting with the Serie A and Champions League winners was enough to get Arsenal to get off of their butts and offer us a job interview. And just in case that you were worried that I put hefty expectations on myself, Milan wants us to win Serie A again and again and again and again and again. And Arsenal, while this coming year has no real expectation except to do pretty well in the Champions League, they want us to win the Premier League next year and the year after and the year after that. Like I've said many times, business at Fulham does continue on, even though we are pursuing other potential opportunities. Tobias Buell has been signed, the 25-year-old, coming over for $70 million. We got him for kind of on the lower end of his value range, so there is some value built in. Not that we're going to be looking to get rid of him right now. He is currently off on international duty with Germany, playing obviously in the World Cup, it being a World Cup year. He's going to be our left wing back for the immediate future, obviously behind Victor Christensen, who is still going to be our starter. We signed him as a squad player. I do love when we can get quality players for limited minutes. Yeah, we have to pay them for the quality that they have, but we don't have too many players that we're promising too much playing time to, so we're able to keep that balance. Hopefully keep the balance. We got him from Ajax. He is now a Cottager. I think no matter what happens, this could very well be our last season at Fulham Football Club. We are expected to reach the semifinal of the Europa League. And while I think that should be possible due to the fact that we made the quarterfinals and the semifinals in each of the last 2 years of the Champions League, the fact that that is the minimum expectation by the board, it's a little disquieting. We'll see what happens. We may not even be here to find out if it all comes true. We may also have some registration quandaries because players like Kim Young-suk, Kim Seon-il, Armand Diaby, Khaled Ghanem, Josh Sharp, Filippo Bufano, Christian Sosa, they were all considered under 21 and did not actually need to be registered. So now we need to make sure that we have enough registration spots for all of the players that we do expect to play for this squad this year. While we're waiting for news of everything, Season 7 at Fulham Football Club has officially begun. The fixtures have been released for the 2034-2035 season. We open up against Spurs at home. We follow that up with a match against Everton, then home against Arsenal. So if we do end up getting and taking the Arsenal job, it's going to be match week 3 that we come back to Craven Cottage. Then we've got Liverpool on the 2nd of September. That is going to be at Anfield before heading back home to take on Sunderland. We take on Chelsea on November the 25th and March 17th. Our Boxing Day matchup is going to be at Turf Moor against Burnley. And we wrap up the season on the final day against Manchester City at Craven Cottage. We're also trying to take in as much money as possible since, we're building a new stadium and all. So we've accepted friendly proposals for the preseason on the road. We're going to be taking on Leeds at Ellen Road. We're going to go to Power Court to take on Luton Town. Sheffield United. There's going to be a testimonial for Vitinha at the Parc des Princes in France. We are going to take on PSG on the 2nd of August before we go up against Stade Rennais, the team that knocked us out of the Champions League, for our final friendly tilt on August the 5th. I think my dream of going to Italy is probably not going to come true. There's a story out there in the news that Milan is set to announce their new manager. Official word hasn't come from the club, but they think it's likely to be Man United manager Thomas Tuchel. God, I don't want to manage at Man United. I really don't even want to manage at Arsenal, to be honest with you. Like me personally. We'll get to that later. Although Thomas Tuchel is believed to have a slight edge on the competition, the likes of Jonathan Robinson, Oliver Glasner, and Pep Guardiola are still considered to have a chance themselves. Job's been open for 11 days. Did they even mention the name of the famous Nick Bottom? No. Of course, that all may be moot. Arsenal have approached Nick Bottom to fill their vacant manager position. 3-year contract, €125,000 per week. That is a salary that's triple what Nick Bottom is currently making at Fulham Football Club. Now, they right now have no transfer budget to speak of. €8 million in wage budget. So financially, they are a little restricted. Obviously, they've got a wage bill nearly twice of what Fulham has. No transfer budget. I don't know if they've spent it or not, but we are replacing Louis Enrique, who just got sacked because they finished 5th. Even though he's won 2/3, wins in 2/3 of his matches. But I guess when you're a perfectionist and you come in 5th, that's what happens. Now, it appears the Gunners do have quite a bit of debt, 234 million euros in the red as we speak. They still have 25 grand to spend in the wage budget, so they're kind of right up against that cap. Average wage is 100,000. I don't think that's much different from what we're experiencing at Fulham Football Club. They have won the league 4 times in this save, including the very first year we got started over at Young Reds. They won in 23-24, again in 27-28, 29-30, and 31-32 before dropping into 4th and 5th place, respectively. They are in the Champions League this year. They do have a very good shot. As we look at the team, you'll see that many of the big names on the current Arsenal roster are still here. So you've got a 33-year-old Gabriel Martinelli, a 35-year-old Declan Rice, a 32-year-old Bukayo Saka, who absolutely has destroyed Fulham on many an occasion, 36-year-old Aaron Ramsdale in goal, 33-year-old William Saliba, 35-year-old Martin Odegaard. They also have Florian Wirtz, Eitan Butera, Mikaeus, who is a very good young player, Thomas Kemschall, a player that we have looked at Fulham to potentially bring in, and some other, on paper, very good younger players. Yusuf Almada, who is an attacking right wing and a striker. Elisu Ribeiro is a very determined, very fast player. So I don't think there's a way we can not take this job. Well, actually, I did think of a way, because we are still in the running for the job in Milan, and I think that actually might be a better situation for us, or it could be. We don't want to shut the door on that. We are not turning down the Arsenal job. We're going to ask them to delay it for a week. They have allowed that. What's a week among friends? Yes, we probably have a lot of work to do at Arsenal, a lot of aging stars that we are probably going to need to address, especially considering we have no money to bring in any new players. We just signed Tom Burford to a new 5-year deal, too. No, 4-year deal. 4-year deal? 4-year deal. So, for at least the next week, we are at Fulham. We're going to see what happens. Well, there we have our answer. We did not get the job at AC Milan. They gave that to some guy named Guardiola, which means there's another position open. This one at Bayern Munich. Yeah, we applied for the job. Couple more reasons for potentially leaving Fulham, or at least making it an appealing option. Wilfried Gnonto still suffering from his cruciate ligament damage he suffered at the end of the year. He's probably going to be out for another 2 to 3 months, which means that he's probably still going to be injured by the time that the transfer window slams shut, which means moving him on is probably not going to be a possibility before January. And now Kim Seon-il, while playing for South Korea, has broken his hand and will be out for the next month and a half. We're also getting closer and closer to the time we need to make the decision on the Arsenal job for once and for all. We still haven't heard anything from Bayern Munich, but look how tasty that this job could potentially be. They've got money in the bank. They've got a transfer budget. They have some money left in the wage bill. They still have players like Matthias de Ligt, Jamal Musiala still banging about the building, but a juicy 22-year-old winger named Lewis Dach, who I would love to have if I only had 225 million euros just laying around to throw out for that kid. So, yeah, it's a shame, but I think Arsenal is going to be our next destination. Players are reporting back from training camp, and some disappointing news, to be perfectly fair. Khaled Ghanayem came back reporting as tired. Now, this is an issue that we were dealing with all of last year, where the coaching staff would come to us thinking that Ghanayem needed a rest and needed a break. He only made 27 appearances in the league for Fulham, 52 appearances overall. He's scored 6 goals. He plays very well when he is out there. Is he out there enough? I don't think so. For the 22-year-old to have this many fitness issues. And the thing is, his stamina is supposed to be a plus for him, but his natural fitness just is not where we need it to be. A bit disappointing. He's making $225,000 a week. We got him for $77 million. We might need to move him on, even though he is part of a very good young defensive center back core. If we can't rely on him to be on the pitch, then that, my friends, is a problem. Some of these we've already talked about, but just to recap the transfer business that has already occurred, Josh King has completed his move to Luton on a permanent basis for 5.75 million euros. The 27-year-old, just, while a good player, we just had better, younger, faster, stronger options at the position. Rowan Ball left on a free to Crystal Palace. As you can see, just no explanation is really necessary on this one. Yes, he was only 18 years old, probably still had some potential, but a long way to go to be the standard of player that Fulham Football Club has gotten used to. A move I'd honestly forgotten we had already set up a while ago. Eduardo D'Amico spent 1 year at Fulham. We brought him in for 13.5 million euros. Wasn't playing nearly as much as he thought he was going to. He became unhappy, and then, well, we weren't playing him because he was unhappy. It became a vicious circle, made 9 appearances for us last year. We sent him back to Argentina, where he's going to be joining River Plate for a grand total of 22 million euros. And another player that we just really don't have a place for, just not really good enough compared to the options we already have on the side. He was out on loan last year. We really want to sell him on a permanent basis, but frankly, we got a loan offer from Hull, and we were like, you know what, just take him. Neil Coulter out the door for another year with Hull City. But that is just setting us up for what is turning out to be the biggest move of this summer transfer window. And that is Nick Bottom has accepted the job at Arsenal, taking charge of a Gunners team that came in 3rd place 2 years ago, or 4th place 2 years ago, 5th place last year, still qualifying for the Champions League thanks to the magic of coefficients, looking to return the Gunners to their former glory, having won the Premier League 4 times, I believe, since Nick Bottom's coaching career has begun, hoping to do it again. And that, my friends, is where we are going to pick up on Monday. I know, 2 transfer specials without a ton of transfers, but this one, you have to admit, is a biggie. We're going to take a look and see what we have at Arsenal, what we need to do to return them to the top of the Premier League table. And, oh yeah, by the way, we head back to Fulham in week 3 of the season. So we've got a lot of preparations left to do. We're already almost halfway through the month of July. The preseason is about to begin, and we've got a regular season not only to prepare for, but to dominate in Champions League play as well. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment below if you think the Arsenal move was the one to make. If you disagree, I'd love to hear that too. Also, make sure you subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you on Monday for more as our Journeyman save continues to our 4th destination. I'll see you then. Till then, bye-bye.